Operator, this is Detective Penny with the Force Investigation Team conducting a recorded statement with security guard Jesus Campos. His date of birth is redacted. Home address is redacted. His cell phone number is redacted. He's employed by Mandalay Bay. His occupation is a security officer. He works 1,500 to 2,300 hours. Days off are Thursday and Friday. This interview is being referenced to an active shooter investigation which occurred under LVPD event number 171,001-3519, which occurred at Mandalay Bay on the 32nd floor. The date of the incident was October 1, 2017. The time of the incident was 2,208 hours approximately. This interview is taking place on October 4, 2017. The current time is 12:55 hours. This interview is taking place on the 32nd floor in room number 32-124. Also present for the interview is Union Representative redacted. Can you state your name for me, please?
My name is Jesus Campos.
And you understand this is being recorded?
Affirm.
You were working the night of October 1st. Can you tell me what you were doing, and what brought you into this incident that we're investigating?
Approximately 2200 hours, I received a call from dispatch, told me to go check the doors that, we have a hot sauce system which indicates which door is propped open for a long period of time. On my patrol I was on the last room which was 30. I was on my way to 32,129. As I was approaching the stairwell from the 31st floor to the 32nd, the door that leads to the stairwell to the hallway was locked or secured, locked. And I thought it was out of the ordinary because those doors are always open. So, I dropped down to the 31st floor. I went down the hallway into the elevators. I believe it was the center core elevators. And then from there I walked all the way down to the last room on the left, which is the door that leads into the stairwell. As I observed a metal bracket that was keeping the door shut, I called our security dispatch. They stated they weren't aware and to contact engineering. I contacted engineering. They stated they weren't aware of the situation either. At that moment in time, I heard noises which I assumed were drills or like a very loud drill. So, I started walking away from the room. As I got in front of 32,129, that's when I heard gunfire. As I got hit, I was pinned in front of 32,121 and 32,123. I noticed I was bleeding. And at that moment in time, I got over the radio and my mobile phone to contact dispatch that shots were fired, and that I was hit. I gave them the location of 32,135 because that's where the shots were coming from. Later at that time when he dispersed a full magazine, I don't know if he started shooting back outside. At the moment in time my shift manager, name redacted, my two outside units, names redacted, they arrived to the center core. At that moment in time, he wasn't shooting out towards the hallway. That's when I breached and made my way down to the center core. After the center core, 4 Metro officers showed up. At that moment in time, I was given a green light to go downstairs, the 200-wing elevators, down to baggage area.
I'm just going to go back. So around 2,200 hours dispatch contacts you via radio?
Yes.
And says they have a hot sauce alarm?
Yes. SOS, it's an acronym. I don't know what it stands for. I know it's Hotel Operating Something System.
So, you get a hot sauce alarm, and that alarm is tripped when a guest room door is left open for an extended amount of time?
Yes.
That alarm was coming from 32-129?
Yes.
So, as you're coming up the stairs, and so you're in the 100 wing?
Yes.
And the stairs are on the far end of the 100 wing, like where the suites are, wherever they are, at the very end of the hallway?
Yes, sir.
As you get to 32 you check the door and the door is secured?
Yes.
Which is unusual. You notify your dispatch. They don't know anything about it. They tell you to contact maintenance. You contact them. They don't know anything about it. So you go down to floor 31 and take an elevator back up to 32. and you go straight down the hallway into the fire exit that was secured. Those are double doors?
Yes.
So, you have one door from the hallway leads into a little alcove, and then the second door is what's in the stairs?
Correct.
And was it the hallway door, or the elevator door that was secured?
The door that leads to the stairwell. So, the inner one.
So, as you enter that little alcove area from the hallway, the stairwell door you see has a metal bracket?
Yes.
Fixed to it?
Yes, sir.
Were the light on in there or were they?
Yes. They were on.
So, you see the metal bracket, and then you start to hear what you believe to be like a loud drill?
Yes.
Could you tell where that noise was coming from?
32,135.
So, you hear a loud drilling coming from 32-135. Could you tell if it was deep in the room or right by the doors?
It was deep in the room and it was pretty rapidly.
So, you hear this. You obviously know that's not a normal sound, so you start walking down the hallway, toward the center core?
Yes.
Right around 32-129 in that area, is when
he dispersed shots into the hallway.
He started firing shots at you. Describe the shots. Like rapid fire or like slow consistent?
No. It seemed like an automatic. If I wouldn't have been shot, I wouldn't have known where those shots were coming from.
So, you start hearing what you believe to be automatic gunfire. You get hit in your left leg?
Yes.
Like where on your leg? Like outside?
Calf. The back calf.
So, you get shot in the left calf. Like dead center?
Dead center.
So, as you're hit in the left calf, you continue down where you get into the alcove right by 32-121 and 123?
Correct.
You're on the radio, you're on your phone reporting shots fired.
Affirm.
Did you look down the hallway to try and see? Did you look down the hallway to see where the gunfire was coming from?
Negative. At the point since I was shot, I was too afraid to pop my head out.
Okay.
But I knew the last room was where the shots were coming from.
And then, so you're already in communication with dispatch. You've got help on the way. You have name redacted. And what was?
Name redacted.
Name redacted. And all 3 armed security?
Yes. 2 are our outside units and the shift manager.
So, they arrived there and they're at the center core. While you're pinned down, you're hearing continuous gunfire?
Correct.
And you were unsure if it was still coming down the hallway at you or if he was directing it outside?
Correct.
And so, at some point in time you decide, do you think that hey, he is no longer firing down the hallway, he's focusing all of his attention outside?
Yes.
And when you believe his attention is focused outside is when you make a break for it and you run to center core?
Correct.
And when you get to the center core you meet up with your guys, and that's when 4 of our guys are also coming to center core?
Correct.
And did you speak to those officers or give them information?
Slightly. I told them at the time I believed that he was shooting through the peephole.
Okay.
However, at a later time I found out what he actually had, a setup of the table and the camera.
But at that time, you didn't notice that?
Yes, I didn't notice that.
Do you remember the cart being in the hallway?
Nope. I don't remember recalling any carts in the hallway.
And then so you had a brief conversation with our officers. You relayed to them where the gunfire is coming from?
Correct.
And they tell you or your guys tell you, hey, let's get you downstairs because you need medical attention?
Correct.
And so, you go down to the 2nd floor to the 200 wing, where?
Lower level, which is the basement.
So lower level 200 wing?
Correct.
And then staff members, do you guys have paramedics on site, or?
Negative. They had contacted them, but under the command that we were under I wasn't able to leave, or they weren't able to come in to attend me. So, I had to wait about an hour and a half before a SWAT medic actually looked at me.
Any of your people apply pressure or anything like?
We're first aid certified. So, I did my best to wrap it, keep the pressure, the compression on. At that time, I wasn't bleeding out as much, so it did stop the bleeding after I did apply the gauze and the wrap.
And what hospital did you end up going to?
Pro Sienna, and I did conduct a Henderson voluntary at that time.
So, Henderson sent out detectives or officers?
No, they were already there.
And then, as we were walking over, you told me that you still have, like, fragments in your leg?
I do. I do have a fragment in my leg. The surgeon gave me his consultation and stated if he did try to remove it he can cause more damage.
Were any fragments removed or did they just leave it all?
Negative. They are still in my body.
When you got shot and you're pinned down and you're hearing the continuous gunfire, what was your mindset?
My mindset was contact for help, and that contact is what provided the correct information from Metro and SWAT to proceed.
Were you afraid that you were going to get killed?
I was afraid. I was afraid of other people being afraid also.
Is there anything else that you can remember? Because I know you said you're off Thursdays and Fridays. Did you have any other occasion to go to that room at all?
No, I was just doing my job. I was responding to a hot sauce room. And I was fortunate enough to encounter that situation.
Do you know if there were any other calls, like, on any other days, for that room, or did you have to do any checks on the floor on Saturday when you were at work?
Negative. I am not in the tower frequently enough. It just so happened to be that day that I was working on those floors.
Is there anything else that you can think about the event that you feel is important that I need to know? Or if there's any questions that I didn't ask you that you think is important that we should know?
Negative. To the best of my knowledge, this is the maximum amount of information that I have.